Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Medeek plugin. My name is Nathaniel P. Wilkerson, and today I wanted to wrap up a few last little loose ends that were kind of hanging out there with the updates I've made recently to the stair module. So let's get started, and I'm just going to go ahead and use the defaults and go ahead and draw a stair. And first thing you're going to notice is I've gone in and updated let's go ahead and delete a few of these just so you can see. So I've added the wood grain texture option to the stair module. That was not there before, so now you can get like a decent wood grain, kind of with the end grain is shown as well. It's not 100% perfect, but at least it's a little better than it was. All right, let's go ahead and regen that. Okay, then the other option that I added here, let's go ahead and edit this stair assembly. So if we turn on the advanced options here, I haven't dealt with side spacers much lately, but let's go ahead and just turn those on. Okay, so previously when you turn on your side spacing boards, well, you'll notice right away it affects the treads, right? It gives you that gap, that half-inch gap, plus you can add in the skirt board as well, which will actually add a little additional there as well. But the problem with that was, typically if you have an open tread on one side and then the other side's up against the wall, you're going to want to have one side open and one side with the side spacer board. And previously that was not possible, but now if you go ahead and enable open tread, now of course if you enable both sides, you're going to notice your side spacer boards go away, and it acts like the side spacer option has not even been turned on. And that is by default. That is the way it, by design. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a left side, and just to show you. So now what you've got is you've got your open tread on your left side, and then on your right side, you'll notice that you have your side spacer board. So this is typical, like when you're basically going up and down a landing and stairs, and you've got one side up against the wall. So yeah, you could enable landings. I'm not going to go ahead and show that, but you can enable landings, and then you can also obviously enable your open treads however you want, left side, both side for each one of those runs. And then of course, if you have the side spacer option turned on, that will properly set that up for you. So like for instance, now let's say do right side. We've got the other side open, right? Okay, so that's just gives you that option of having this up against the wall, and you can still enable those side spacer boards. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn that off real quick. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the overhang on both sides. Okay, so again, let's go ahead and use pressure treated here. Let's turn our risers to open, and then I'm going to change my tread thickness here. Let's say 1.5, and then let's use pressure treated lumber, for instance. Okay, so as you can see, I've added these other options for wood textures in here, which is kind of nice. So a lot of times what you end up doing is like for decks and that sort of thing, you're going to want to do pressure treated lumber all the way around. And then a lot of times you don't have that round nosing, so you'll want to do that. And of course, if it's just boards coming across here, you're probably not going to have that return. So let's turn that return off. Okay. Okay, so now we've got kind of a typical sort of deck staircase, your external decks. However, usually you don't do just one big fat board like that. So what I've actually enabled here is, if you notice here under the tread material, I now have two new parameters. One's called tread board quantity, and one is tread spacing. So by default, this will be set to 1. But if you want to split this into 2 treads, or 2 boards, sorry, you can do that. And by default, this spacing is usually set to 1/4 inch, but again, you can modify that as well. And so now we split this like into 2 2x6s, right? Now, just so you know, the the algorithm is actually not, calculating these out to be exactly 2x6. It's just taking the, the amount of the tread depth and dividing that in two, and then of course subtracting away your spacing. So, you might have to fine tune things if you want to get it exact on a 2x6. I think actually the way this works out, I think actually those numbers work out to be exactly a 2x6. Yes, they do. But I don't know if that's coincidence or it's just, the way the numbers work out, I guess. So anyways, and then again, if you want to go to like 3 boards, I mean, that sometimes happens. I've seen that as well. So, you can do that. And of course, you can change that spacing, right? If you set this, and you can also set your spacing here. I made this possible, so you can set that to 0. Sometimes you jam those right up next to each other. And what happens actually is it's modeling this as a single solid. The reason why I'm doing this is just because it makes the model a little more lightweight. And if you're just going to have these butted up against each other, well, then it makes sense just to do it that way. But it's still a solid. It's just one single solid with lines drawn on it to indicate that that is 3 separate boards. I may change that at some point, but for now, that's the way I've got it set up. But yeah, let's go ahead and just change it back to 1/4 inch, for instance. So anyways, there's your kind of typical deck staircase coming off your, your pressure treated deck outside. So I think the additional materials and these few additional little options here, these 2 extra parameters, and then of course the updates to the side spacer allow you to really configure things a little bit better. All right, guys, if you have any other questions or other options, again, these 2 actual updates, or 3, were all user-driven. So, again, I take your feedback very seriously, so please email me, call me if you like even. If you have any great ideas, let me know, and I will try to make it happen. So we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.